Welcome to the Elevate Your Event podcast, where we talk about how to plan and execute an unforgettable event that will dazzle your guests and generate more income for your organization. From fundraising and securing trendy auction items to event production and logistics, get the best tips and advice from seasoned fundraising and event professionals who have been in your shoes.
Welcome back to the Elevate Your Event podcast, where we talk about all the various ways you can make your next fundraising event better. And this is a special, we never really do talk about when these publish because people listen to them at different times. But I think we're just going to have to spill the beans and say this is kind of a toward the end of the year podcast because we're going to do some superlatives, right?
Yeah.
Some best ofs or tops or whatever. We're going to get nerdy too, which is kind of fun. And I'm sitting in the wrong spot. Well, I'm sitting in a different spot. I'd like to introduce Lori Mackay from Handbid, who has decided that she wants to sit in that seat. And wherever she wants to sit, that is where she gets to sit.
So, shaking things up.
That's right. We're all about different. Think different, do different. So we're going to sit in different seats today.
Yep.
But we also have in the studio with us
Elise
Druckenmiller. And she's got her earmuffs on. We are ready to roll. It's not that cold yet. We live in a state, by the way. So again, not to spill the beans on kind of time of the year, but we have 65 to 70 degree weather outside today. And tomorrow we're expecting 8 inches of snow. So welcome to life in Colorado. Yep. Normally this happens in the spring, but apparently this is going to happen right before Christmas. So anyway.
Well, we're supposed to get a lot of snow tomorrow.
I know, and we're not going to talk about the weather. It depresses us. You guys don't want to listen to us be depressed. You want to talk about fun stuff, like really kind of interesting, nerdy stuff. And we're going to talk about kind of top items, top bids, all that kind of fun stuff. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, and this is the opportunity for us to kind of nerd out a little bit, go into our database and pull reports. And thanks to Carrie for being the database guru that she is. She pulled a lot of this data for us, and then we got to sit around and kind of munch through it. And so we've got some all-time stuff because it's interesting. We also have some top of 2023. That sound good? What do we want to start with before my laptop dies?
Let's do an all-time most bids on an item.
Most bids on an item. Okay. We have that. Do you want to do all-time most bids on an item? How many do you think it is?
Well, I already saw the data.
Well, come on, just play along for crying out loud.
Elise?
Most bids on an item.
You're
38.
38.
Whoa.
The answer is 314. Now we did pull some items out, like so we disqualified certain things, but for sale items, donation items, whatever, because we're really just looking at silent auction items.
Auction items.
Yeah.
Silent auction
314 for a 20-yard dumpster haul and disposal.
Wow. People really wanted that.
Let's do top 3 because these are interesting. So number 2, 292 bids on a $500 gift card. Okay, a $500 gift card. Maybe they started it at $1.
I was going to say, maybe it was dollar bid increment. Can we talk a little bit about the importance of bid increments?
We're all for small bid increments, not because it drives the bid counts up, but it definitely does generate competition.
True.
So,
They had a lot of competition on that $500 card.
Number 3, a signed Donald Trump hat.
What?
273 bids.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Man, I'd like to know how many people were like at that event or...
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I see what the event name is here. I'm not going to share it, but I mean, I think that's it. Definitely, it was a state convention, so it was definitely some group, but it was an auction.
I wonder what kind of group.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go on to something else. That was all time. Should we look at this year? I mean, some of these are obviously going to be overlap, but top bids per item this year was 249. And all it says is NASCAR fans, check this out. So clearly a lot of NASCAR fans checked it out.
Yep.
So there you go. Congratulations to NASCAR fans. 249 bids. I love it. Number 2 was significantly less than that. And that was Vacation for Two at Tony's Fiji Resort. I want to go to Fiji. I would have bid on that. 160 bids.
That'd be a pretty cool item.
Be interesting. Like what I didn't pull in this list here is what it actually went for, but I assume for a lot of money for vacation for 2 at Fiji. But
Yeah.
there you go. And let's just wrap it up with number 3. I mean, I don't know if everybody knows that we also do commercial auctions. And so this, I could tell, is a commercial item because I can look at the auction name. So that almost the rest of this list, except for a few, are from one of our commercial clients. It is a Dyson Airwrap Complete Long. I don't even know what that is.
Ooh.
That's a vacuum.
No.
What?
Well, kind of. It's actually a vacuum for your hair, and it goes whoosh,
Oh.
and it curls it heatlessly.
Nice.
And then if you swap it, it'll go whoosh the other way, so your curls go like this.
I don't think that would work on my hair, but
I don't think it would either, Jeff.
I'm pretty sure my hair would get
And
caught
the
in
long
a
part
Dyson.
is for long hair. You're welcome.
very cool. Okay.
Learn
Well, let's keep
something
going
new.
here. Let's keep going. How about bids in an auction? Should we do that one?
Yeah.
Well, we did bids on an item. Mm-hmm. Okay. All time?
Yes.
Give me a rough guess on how many bids all time in a Handbid auction.
11,000.
Higher.
No kidding.
Yeah.
11,500.
Oh my
And
God, we're
one.
going to be here all day.
14,000.
We're bidding.
You all underbid. Stephanie bid $1. She wins. You're the next contestant, Steph.
Stephanie bid
I can't say
100,000.
prices right. I'll get sued. But anyway. All right. No, it is 14,736.
Oh.
Yeah. And it was an auction for Disney memorabilia. So obviously we know that Disney fans are crazy. Mm-hmm. Okay. What was number 2?
The number?
Yeah. How much?
Well, less than 14,000.
Less than 14,736 is a good guess. Oh my God. These are smart people. That we're gonna
$1.
brilliant people. That
Okay, now I'm going with 10,000.
Okay.
I'm going to go with 8.
I'm going to say 13,000.
Well, you're looking at the number.
Did you not want me to tell you the answer?
Oh, you're giving us the answer. I thought you were guessing. Fair enough.
I know the answer. I'm staring at them all. You had me pull all this data this morning.
I know.
Okay. All right. 13,000. Then we go down to 92.53 and then 83.75. There's a lot in the 8,000. So we won't kind of bore you beyond that. But anyway, just interesting for those that are interested in how
Now,
many bids.
what would be curious to know is that's how many bids in an auction. How many items are in those auctions?
Well, I didn't pull that with these, but there's a few that we, obviously we know have a number. But for example, the one that had 14,000 bids, it's not in the top 20 in terms of number of items.
No kidding.
No, it had 300 and something items. 330 something items.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. No, that's wrong. 600 and something. 660 items is what it had. And it did 14,000 bids.
That's incredible.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy Disney people, I tell you. Okay. This year, number 1 was 72.14. So one of the, it's not in the top 10 all time, but it is the top this year, 72.14 in one auction. One that just recently closed was 68.41. Congratulations, Trees of Hope, 68.41. That's awesome. We have a client that runs large auctions every year, and they're so aptly named. Silent Auction 2023, Silent Auction 2022, Silent Auction 2021. I see them all listed here. So anyway, they do a lot of items, and obviously they do a lot of bids. But I think you're bringing up something interesting, which is what are those auctions that are generating a lot of bids, but maybe don't have a ton of items, so you're seeing a lot of bid activity?
If I had to guess, just based on kind of patterns that we've seen over time, it's probably more the bid increments are probably smaller on those items.
They are. Yep. And there's some intelligence in that, right? And we've talked about that in other episodes, but if you have really high bid increments, you're going to discourage bidding.
Yeah.
And so we always recommend, and this is for charities, right? For commercial businesses, it's different. But for a charity, if you've got an item worth $500, please don't start it at $400. Okay. Start it at like $100, $150 and put a $10 bid increment on it or a $5 bid increment on it. You're going to be blown away. If you give your bidders enough time to bid,
Yeah.
once they've bid enough, they get kind of emotionally now engaged and attached to winning. It's no longer about what they're spending. It's about winning. Mm-hmm. You will see crazy amounts of bids and you'll see amazing revenue.
Yeah, there's something that happens in your mind that you're like, it's only $10 instead of for another 100. I don't think so.
This is what Vegas does, you people. Come on. Mm-hmm. Don't you want to double down for an extra $5? Of course, those are the tables I play at. Elise, by the way, but probably doesn't. She's probably at the $50 table, but I'm at the $5 table.
I'm at the $5 table.
No, I'm at the $5. I'm at the tables wherever people are handing me money to play. I'm
at
rolling
the table.
the dice
I'm winning.
for people. That's what I'm doing.
But anyway, it's the same
Little
mentality.
serotonin
What's
hit.
another
Yeah.
$5? Come on. Anyway, that does work. Okay, so we see a lot of that. Okay. How about auctions with the most items? What's the most items? And we're talking silent items, guys, not for sale or tickets or anything. What's the most silent auction items put in a handbid auction?
1,300.
Higher. We're going to play this
Ever
game
of all time?
All time.
5,000.
Not that much. That's a good guess, though.
3,800.
2,084. Okay.
2,084.
2,084
Is that a
items.
commercial client?
Yes, it was. The next one was also a commercial client, 1,304, and they basically auctioned off all the street signs in their town.
Fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
It was kind of neat because apparently they made a major design, and these were kind of old and cool, I guess. I don't know.
It's like license plates.
and
People
every-
do that with license plates.
I would totally buy a license plate from my town.
Like that says Mackay Drive.
Yes. Or even just like a street that I'm familiar with or that I grew up on.
Ooh.
Oh, totally. What a great idea.
So it was neat. And then, wow, we had one of our hockey team youth foundations did 1,270 items. That's a lot.
Oh, I do remember that auction, actually.
And then we have our silent auction 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022, and 2023 that are all in the 1,000 item range. So there you go.
That's a lot of items. That's
a
a lot of work.
items.
But that's a charity too, if I remember correctly.
It is a charity.
Yep.
And-
So
and
that's an actual event.
it is
where they have how
every
many
year
items?
They have roughly 1,000 items. Little, just short of 1,100. Put it that way.
How many people come to that event? You guys remember?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I've never
I'm
been.
not sure what Silent Auction 2019 is, so.
I think we researched it, but yeah.
I've never been, but they do a lot for sure. Okay, how about this year? Outside of Silent Auction 2023, having 1,056 items. Our folks down in West Texas, they always have the big auction. They do it every January. 598 items. That's a lot.
Yeah,
Okay?
you know those West
But we've
Texans.
got a lot in here, like 573 this year, 548. We have 456. Handbags of Hope did 433. Cayman Islands did 389. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, people are packing their auction with items for sure.
Handbags for Hope sounds wonderful.
Handbags for Hope.
You
Not
just
to
want the
me.
handbags.
I just want the handbags, but also for Hope.
I'll take golf clubs for Hope. That sounds awesome. Very, very cool. Okay. And we were talking about this earlier. So it's not always that, the auctions that have all the bids have all these items. I mean, in some of them, that's the case. I mean, we have one of them, which we just mentioned, Silent Auction 2023. They did 6 bids per item. That's not a lot.
No.
Okay. But that's why you get 6,000 bids when you have 1,000 items.
Right.
Okay.
You gotta have a lot of people for that too.
But we had one client this year that did 31 bids an item.
That's
closed
pretty
recently.
impressive.
Yeah. That's Trees of Hope.
What was that item? Do we know what that item was?
Well, that's the average. Like per
Oh,
auction.
yeah, sorry.
So anyway, I thought that was pretty impressive.
That's a pretty high average. I mean,
Yeah. That's the average. And I think that's pretty high.
That was their average or the highest?
Those are the averages.
that's the average in that auction.
Yeah.
What? 31 bids an item?
Yeah. That's a lot. When you have 300 or 400 items, to have that many bids per item is a lot.
Yeah.
a
I
lot.
mean, you're
That's
going to have
awesome.
some that have less, but you got some that have more. I mean, that's how you get to the average, of course. But I mean,
Well, we talked about this, right? We had bids. Remember, just to recap, I mean,
Pathologist.
we had number of bids all time on an item is 314,
yeah.
right? That was the dumpster haul. Okay.
Right.
Still don't know what that is, but I'm sure it was amazing. Okay. So anyway, so I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a fun one. What's the most money put on a single credit card transaction at a Handbid event?
Well,
Ever of all time?
All time. You know what? I didn't have time to pull it for this year. I don't know if it really matters, but you're still married, so it clearly wasn't your credit card.
True story.
And my credit card was
I actually know the
denied.
answer to this because it was a Handbid trivia holiday party Christmas trivia thing in 2019, and I remember the answer.
For our audience, we used to do this as employee trivia, and then they all started cheating, so we don't do it anymore.
Photographic memory is not cheating, and it's $201,000.
201 is the correct answer.
What?
$201,000.
Your
James,
memory.
would that go through on your credit card?
I will say this, though. I was at an event.
Okay, here's a bonus question.
Okay. Uh-oh.
What kind of card was it?
Amex.
Amex.
It was an Amex card.
Yeah, no
You're right.
way. Visa would be like, what?
Visa would have the police showing up. Maybe not, but anyway.
We still love Visa.
I actually happened to be in the vicinity of that transaction, and we're all just wondering if it was like I don't even think the bidder / purchaser had faith that it was going to go through, but it did.
There's many events I've worked where I'm like, okay, we'll put this on your credit card. It wasn't $210,000, but I'm like, all right, buddy, let's go.
I know,
and everybody's like,
he's like, it should work. Try it.
I had one a couple years ago. We didn't do it on the card, but he was like, yeah, run it. It was $505,000. And I was like,
wow.
Okay, I can do it. I can also invoice you. He's like, oh, that'd be way better, but the card will work. I'm like, I'll send you an invoice.
Crazy.
You should have swiped that puppy.
I know. I'm not sure it would have fit through the thickness of it would have fit through the thing.
Come on, Lori, we now put the card chip thingy in. Come on, swipe.
This was a while ago. Tap to pay.
Tap to pay. Exactly. That's coming in 2024. That's some cool stuff we're going to do around.
Don't spill all of our beans.
I know. Tap to pay on an iPhone,
You're
which would
already
be cool.
spilled-
We got some more
spilled
stuff to talk
podcast.
about. Okay. Okay, so some people may know this, some people may not, but when you create an account with Handbid, it's your account, okay? So you can join various auctions, okay? And obviously for some of our commercial clients, because we didn't filter them out, we have people that bid in a lot of auctions. Okay, so this is kind of a fun one. What or who, you don't need to know who, but for this person, top bids per person all time across all auctions in Handbid. How many bids has that person placed?
We're looking at you because I already know.
Well, I already know too.
This
This one I know
Oh my gosh, you guys are so boring.
because I looked him up.
Oh.
I was curious. I actually don't remember the number because I really looked at his email. Across all auctions, I'm going to go with 8,602.
Wow, that sounded like a really well thought out answer. It's not correct, but anyway. Jesus, we're not going to spill his last name, but Jesus has placed 10,410 bids.
It was close.
And if I remember correctly, that organization, how long have they been with us?
I mean,
A
just
year.
this year, yeah. So he's number one this year too.
I was just going to say, like,
So we have a lot of
Holy
commercial
cow.
clients that kind of fit into this, but
he's been just biddy McBid.
yeah. Well, number two is not a commercial client.
Yes.
This is somebody who's been bidding in charity auctions, Kelly, and Kelly has placed 8,363 bids
Wow.
All time or just this year?
all time.
All time. We like Kelly.
All time. Isn't that crazy? Okay. William has placed 6,868. Angela has placed 4,967. She's also a charity bidder, which is cool. 4,967 bids across charity auctions is amazing. See here, 5 in the list is actually one of our commercial clients in Switzerland selling genetically engineered cattle, 3,542 bids.
Wow.
Those are all floor bids, I bet. Anyway,
floor bids.
fascinating.
He's looking for a meat farm.
Yep. Here's another gentleman, Matt. We know Matt. Matt has placed 2,684 bids across a number of charity auctions, so he is definitely a charity auction bidder. Pretty fascinating, huh?
Yeah, it really is.
Okay. All right. Most expensive item ever sold in Handbid. This is kind of, I mean, we didn't pull the commercial ones out. So
You did?
We did not.
Oh, you did not?
No.
Oh,
Ooh.
you go, Lori.
I don't. The most expensive auction item ever. I'm going to go with $210,000.
Wrong.
No.
Am I close?
No.
No. You're not close.
Like way low?
Way low.
Way low. Because, I mean, again.
I'm going to tell you this. I actually don't know what the number is because I ran to the restroom when you guys were pulling this data at this point. But I have
We wouldn't have told you
been
anyway.
at these auctions. I don't know which auction it is, but I have been at auctions where they've gone for way more. Like
Okay. So
Like
this
1.2?
This is an overriding royalty interest
10 million.
in Midland County, Texas.
Wow.
This is a oil and gas item. Went for $8.5 million.
Did they put it on a credit card? No, I was kidding.
No, I can tell you they negotiated it.
Wow.
So anyway,
I'm really low ball.
we should probably redo
I clearly
this
only
and
do
pull-
charity auctions.
We
We
should,
should pull that out.
yes, we should probably pull those out so you guys can see something more interesting. But anyway, we can
That
come back
was
to that.
in
Could
June.
be
That was in June.
we could come back with some more interesting, maybe charity only types of
That would,
data.
yeah.
But anyway, $8.5 million. So
Wow.
somebody is the owner of overriding royalty interest in Midland County. There you go. Bargain, $800 million. Okay, last one we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about devices. And we've talked about maybe even doing a future podcast where we really do talk about how people bid, the interfaces they use, and why it matters. But before we get into actual numbers, we have 4 categories of where bids are placed in Handbid. Okay, iPhone, Android. Okay, and these are our apps, native apps. Okay, the web. Okay, self-explanatory what that is. I hope. Okay, and then our iPad kiosk app. Okay, so first question. I don't think Elise knows these, right?
I don't think
'Cause
so.
She left the room. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. All right. She hates it when she doesn't know something. This is even more fun.
No, I love it.
Okay. What of those 4 has the most bids?
The most?
Yeah.
Of all time.
Just, yeah. All time 2023, they're the same, pretty much the same.
I was trying to throw her off, Jeff.
Oh, sorry. I spoiled it. I'm sorry.
We can't have dead
Oh my
air
God,
for
we
too
are
long
gonna
on a
have
I
to put
am
timer
going
on this.
with, I'm actually going to go with the web.
Ooh.
Ooh. Interesting you said the web. And for a lot of our competitors where that's their only interface, that would be true, but not for us. So
iPhone.
you want to spoil it for her?
iPhone.
Okay. Okay. So the iPhone has the most bids. Okay. What percentage of total bids are placed on an iPhone through the Handbid app? This is just killing her. I love it.
I'm going to go with, I actually thought it
What I
was
love is
iPhone, but I
how
didn't
hard
wanna
she's
say it.
trying to be right.
No, I thought it maybe was a trick question. I was originally going to say iPhone. But regardless, I think probably 85%.
Not quite.
Ooh.
Not quite. But that was, you're in the range. 65%.
That's lower than I expected.
65% of all bids placed in Handbid are placed on an iPhone. Okay. What's number 2? Oh, should we go all time?
Yeah.
Because it actually changed in 2023. So we were a little surprised. Okay. So out of our millions and millions of bids on here, okay, what percentage and what's number 2? Give me a number 2 and a percent.
For 2023,
All time.
device. Number 2, I'm going back to web.
Web. There
Yeah.
you go.
Ding, ding, ding,
All right.
ding.
And what percentage of bids were placed on the web?
Oh,
I'll give you a hint. It's less than 65. And if you're good at math, it's less than 35.
I'm going to go with, I don't think there's very many on the iPad because we don't really see that very often anymore. And Android, 15.
22%. So,
bad guess.
yeah. So iPhone was 65% all time in terms of total bids. Web is 22. Android was 11. And iPad was 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that changed a little bit in 2023.
Okay.
What didn't change is the iPhone. It still is roughly 65% of all bids. Okay. Android surpassed the web. but barely, but it did. So roughly 18%.
Okay.
And then followed by the web, and then followed by iPad at 2%.
iPad bidding?
It's a thing of the past.
So we see this, and I would say when we look at data, and we have these types of reports in our software. So when you go in and you run your auction, and it's got to be really cool to look at this if you're like Trees of Hope, or you're like, the Disney auction or whatever, and you're seeing thousands of bids, and you're like, I really want to see what it looks like. But we have a breakdown by device type.
Yeah, where are they coming from?
And where and when they're coming, right? And so what's always been interesting at our events is if you look at kind of market share of handsets, in the United States, iPhone has a higher market share than Android, but that's pretty much not the norm. Okay, worldwide, Android has a higher percentage. So anyway, but in the United States, iPhone still there's more iPhone owners than Android owners, but it's close, right? I mean, and I don't know the exact numbers. We could go look them up, but it's not. If it's anything, it's like 55 to 45 or 52 to 48 or something like that, right? Not at events. It is 85 to 90% iPhone at events, 100%. And so that's probably why you're seeing the vast majority of bids. And so why is there a big discrepancy between iPhone and Android? It tends to be that. It's not that iPhone users bid more. I mean, when we go down and look at bids per device, if you're in the app, you're bidding more than if you are on the web. I mean, we see that for sure, right? Yeah. It's just that there's more iPhone users than Android users at events. But anyway, it's kind of fun to watch, and we'll see kind of how those trends change over time. But and look, if we had done this 10 years ago, okay, the iPad probably would have been 30 or 40% of the bids because a lot of people showed up at these events without smartphones and used our iPad kiosk to place bids.
Yep. Can you imagine showing up to an event now without your phone? Like,
Usually
how would you take a picture?
Usually, the people that I meet that don't have their phone, it's because their phone is dead.
Oh,
So,
truth. Yeah.
And so they go and charge it, and then they try to keep up, right? The whole, my guests are too old to use apps and they won't, but that's really non-existent for the most part. And if you're thinking that in your head, your guests aren't, right? I mean, your guests are, cashing their checks in their banking app and they're in their 80s. I mean, and the trends are changing fast anyway. I mean, the types of people coming to these events, it continues to evolve and people are just comfortable in an mobile app world. But one of the things that's interesting to see is if you want to know where people are bidding, because we don't force people to use an app.
Yeah.
Okay. They can use web. They can show up and use the web. I don't care, right? They can sit at home and use the web. And honestly, if I'm sitting at home, I might as well just pull out my laptop and sit on the couch as much as my iPhone. So, but people choose this. Right.
Well, and to clarify to the people that are listening, when we're talking about whether you're using an iPhone or an Android or the web, please keep in mind that when we say iPhone and Android, that is only the app. Right. The web is you could be on your iPhone and be on the browser, and that counts towards a web bid.
It
Correct.
does. Yep.
Right. So just to clarify to those that might not be as familiar as we are to that. So,
yeah,
I mean, the app is where it's at.
It really is if you're trying to get engagement, right?
Yep.
And for us, we're trying to drive engagement. And, these numbers kind of reflect that it works, right? Because 65% of all bids are placed on an iPhone.
What would be interesting is to look at some of those auctions, though, that had the highest bids in them. Where
you want to look?
I mean, how were they bidding?
We can get so nerdy. I have my laptop
Excuse us
here.
while we nerd out.
It's so much fun.
Do those high bid count auctions, do they have a lot of iPhone and or Android?
Right.
I mean, my guess is going to be yes.
I would think so.
These are going to be commercial bidders, at least some of the ones we're looking at.
Some of them.
And if I'm commercial bidding on a platform, I want to know when I'm outbid immediately, and I want to be able to have a notification for that right away. So to me, I mean, I'm jumping out there. I'm just assuming.
I'm assuming too.
That it's
but I'm curious.
Yeah. And I'm leaning towards it's going to be heavy iPhone usage.
You think?
Let's go into Trees of Hope. I mean, they just closed and they did almost 6,200 bids with 700 people registered.
Okay.
Okay. We're not going to reveal any proprietary data, obviously, but I mean, let's just go in and look at the bidder summary and let's just see how people bid.
Yeah.
Okay. And I've not looked at this, by the way, so this is like really kind of cool.
We're going to surprise Jeff now.
Ooh.
What was the percentage of bids placed on an iPhone, Elise?
62%.
63%. You were so close.
What?
What?
On the app on the iPhone.
Okay,
Correct.
so
My bidders won't use an app. Don't say that to us anymore. We don't want to hear it.
I don't want to hear it. Okay.
Let's look and see what they actually did.
Actually, I'm wrong on that, okay,
Oh.
for these people, because I'm looking at the wrong chart. I should know this stuff, shouldn't I? God. I'm going to get scolded by Stephanie later. Okay. Device breakdown was 63% of the people had a bid on an iPhone, but the bids per device, 77% of the bids came from an iPhone. So they were definitely heavy bidders. So there's a little bit of a discrepancy there, right? I mean, so, okay, well, let's look at this. So the iPhone had 265 active bidders. The iPad had 1. That was probably the auction manager. The Android had 60. The web had 8. Okay. And we actually had, it says 90 that are unknown. Those get lumped into web in our reporting. So really the web had 98. Okay. So anyway, just so you know that. A lot of times that's because they have some sort of like ad blocker or something that doesn't tell us what their browser is. So anyway, okay, bids by device, 18 bids per bidder on an iPhone.
Nice.
Okay, 15 bids per bidder on an Android.
Okay.
Okay, 2.3 bids per bidder on the web.
Yep.
Do you guys see how this works? Okay,
Yeah.
that's how it works.
Yep.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Isn't it?
I think so.
If we factor in the unknown, which we can do that, and it's not going to be dramatically more, because like normally we roll those into the web. But so we had 531 bids divided by 98. Hold on here. 531 divided by 98. It's still 5.4. So when we factor in the unknown, the web is still 5.4 versus 15 on Android and 18 on iPhone.
Yeah.
So it's dramatically different.
Right. Could we look at a commercial? Will that be okay?
Yeah.
We don't need to say who it is, I guess.
Well, let's not look at oil and gas because,
Yeah.
trust me, there's not
We know
thousands of bids on an $8.5 million
I'd like to know
item.
the other one, though, the one that we've been involved in for about a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm curious if they're using the web or if they're using an iPhone or they're using the apps on that
Let's
level.
find out. This is so exciting.
This is something Jeff would like.
I do. I nerd out
And
on this
here's what's fun.
stuff.
While Jeff's pulling this stuff up, here's what's fun. If you have software that provides reporting and all that kind of data for you, you can nerd out like this on your bidders as well. And you can find out exactly who you're working with year over year. Yep. What's their habits? I like to look at when did you get the most bid activity? You know, like some people open their auction up a whole week in advance. And where do all those bids come in? You know, are you getting some bid activity before your event? Can you change up the way you're maybe doing it? Maybe you peel in some surprise items or whatever. And then are you getting a lot of bid activity at that when you set the timer? And is there any sort of like psychology around your timer? You can see all of that in your data. So don't just run an event, make a bunch of money, and then close the door and open back, you know.
Well, here's the 1,000
Look at the
bids,
data.
225 people. Okay. Should we look?
Yeah.
All right. Here we
I
go.
love this group because they're from my home state.
Oh, now it comes out. Okay.
Actually, pretty much my hometown.
Interesting. Okay. A little bit more balanced between iPhone and Android. Okay. But when you look at this, it's still almost double on the app. So they are about Android, iPhone bidders. And I think probably because when you're looking at charity events, we definitely see a skew towards iPhone and higher demographic. The average item in this thing costs under $20. So it's a little bit different. But in this case here, we have 76 iPhone bidders, 50 Android bidders, and about another 50 or 60 web bidders. These are people sitting at home, right? These are not event-based, right? So these are people sitting at home on their desktop, okay? Either way, Android bidders are roughly 6 bids per bidder. iPhone is roughly 6 bids per bidder. The web is 3.
There you go. More bid activity in the app.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
It just, I mean, at an event, we're seeing 3 times.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
I get. I mean, I don't know what you guys are like, and I'm maybe a little bit biased, but I hate using websites on my phone.
Yes.
Oh, I no.
I hate it. I mean, I want something formatted for a mobile screen, and web doesn't. I mean, we have a website, and so I'm not trying to fully pick on it, but it's just not as fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's just,
Yep.
I don't know. And we're all about fun.
All about it.
And engaging.
Yeah.
Well, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed kind of seeing that information.
Yeah, I think this was kind of cool, and we'll push out some more kind of interesting tidbits and stuff. We did something like this, 4 or 5 years ago. We did a whole analysis on like the breakdown of bidding per device with Handbid, and really started to kind of point to people like, hey, look, this is what it's, this is what it breaks
the
out to be.
trend.
These apps work,
Right.
And so it's important for people to understand that. But okay, that was cool. It's
That's
the end
fun.
of the year. This is kind of the top type stuff. If you guys have any other questions about top types of things or advice or anything that we've mentioned, or you need more detail on apps and, apps versus web and view, we'll do it. We should do a podcast episode on why people bid more on an app than they would on the web,
Absolutely.
because we understand the psychology behind that.
Yeah.
So we could do that, and the technology behind that too. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, this was fun. Thank you guys for joining me in this one. Thank you, Elise, for giving us all those amazing right answers, especially with the Dyson, whatever that thingy is that curls your hair.
Learn something new.
I know. Yes. Like, apparently you need a Donald Trump signed cap in your auction, or you need a 20-yard Holloway truck.
Or a Fiji
Dumpster.
trip.
A Fiji trip.
Fiji trip.
Fiji trip, guys. That's our recommendation for 2024. Get that Fiji trip in your auction. Okay. Thank you guys for participating. If you guys have, again, any questions for the end of the year or into 2024, please reach out to us. We'd love to either answer that on a podcast or answer to you directly. Leave us a 5-star review if you're enjoying this podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Spotify or Google or anywhere else that you might be listening to your podcast, including YouTube, because we are on there as well. Okay. So until we chat again, happy fundraising and Happy New Year.
Bye.